Hey fam, welcome to Quip Culture.
Yo fam, welcome to Quip Culture. Today, we are diving headfirst into the internet's native language. We're going to explore how these simple, funny images went from being inside jokes to a super powerful and, serious form of communication that's shaping everything from global politics to our own mental health. So, let's start with the big question. What is a meme, really? To get to the heart of it, we're going to look at a perfect example. One that totally blew up and became something like a rallying cry for an entire generation. You probably remember this one. This lyric, from a viral rap song on TikTok, didn't just get stuck in everyone's head, it threw gasoline on the whole #OKBoomer trend. See, this wasn't just a catchy tune. It was basically a line drawn in the digital sand. It set the stage for a whole new kind of generational showdown. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. Intergenerational politics. This isn't just about kids making fun of their parents' taste in music. Nope. It's about a younger generation forming what sociologists call a generational we sense. A collective identity built around shared experiences and ideas, often by defining themselves against an older group. So that phrase, okay boomer, it became this verbal eye roll, right? A catch-all dismissal for what Gen Z sees as this huge pile of problems left behind by the baby boomer generation. We're talking about massive political decisions like Brexit and the election of Donald Trump, plus huge systemic issues like economic inequality and, of course, the climate crisis. The meme became a simple shorthand for some very, very real frustration.
What's so fascinating here is that this is way more than just a snappy comeback. It's actually a form of what's called discursive activism. By using a provocative phrase, Gen Z basically kicked off a massive conversation and, in the process, solidified its own identity by clearly defining what it stands against. It's a political tool, just cleverly disguised as a meme. Pretty smart, right?
So, how in the world did this new language evolve at such a breakneck speed? Well, it turns out it's not just random chaos. There's actually a science to the virality, and researchers have been busy finding the patterns in all of it.
Get this. A massive 10-year study looked at 2 million memes from Reddit, and what they found points to this wild idea that memes are becoming a kind of internet meta-language. Think about it like this. They're not just random, isolated pictures. They're part of a constantly evolving system of communication, one that has its own grammar, its own vocabulary, and its own deep-cut inside jokes.
Now, what's really incredible about this is the data. Just look at this chart. It shows the number of new meme templates popping up online over time. You don't need to be a data scientist to see that this isn't just steady growth. It's a full-on explosion. Just how fast is that explosion? Well, the study found that the number of new, distinct meme templates is doubling approximately every 6 months. That is an absolutely insane rate of replication and innovation. It just shows you how quickly this new language is expanding. And this shot right here illustrates perfectly that it's not just about quantity. The quality and complexity are changing too. Early memes, like the classic advice animals, were super simple. A character on a plain background, right? Compare that to modern memes, which are often these visually dense, multi-layered scenes. And that complexity isn't for nothing. It allows for way more nuanced jokes and requires a deeper level of shared cultural knowledge to even get it. Okay, so memes are a language that's growing fast and getting more complex. But let's be real for a second. A lot of the time, the humor is just bizarre. So what's the deal? Why has Gen Z humor gotten so delightfully weird? The answer, my friends, lies in irony. But not just any old irony. You've got your basic sarcasm, which everyone gets. Then you've got post-irony, which is when you're being sarcastic but you kinda mean it. But Gen Z's signature move? That's meta-irony. It's a joke with so many layers of meaning that it's almost impossible to tell if the person is being sincere or just making fun of the whole thing. And this kind of humor didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It is a direct response to growing up in a world that often feels completely chaotic and senseless. I mean, when you're constantly hearing about school shootings, police brutality, political division, and a planet that's warming up, absurdity starts to feel like a pretty rational way to look at things. And that's exactly where humor becomes this absolutely crucial coping mechanism. Remember when the threat of World War III started trending? What was the internet's immediate response? Memes. It's a way for people to process a shared collective anxiety about the future and, honestly, to find a little bit of connection in some really dark times. But this powerful language isn't just for making jokes or for coping with bad news. It has become an incredibly effective and important tool for protest and social change. I absolutely love this quote from the digital media scholar Anne Xiaomina.
It just perfectly captures the spirit of what's happening. Like graffiti on a city wall, memes are being used to amplify messages, to build entire narratives, and to grab the public's attention and point it towards critical issues of human rights and social justice.
And a huge advantage here is how memes can work in places where freedom of speech is, well, limited. While a public protest can be incredibly dangerous, mimetic protest uses coded language and humor. This lets activists critique authority and get around censorship, all while having this built-in layer of plausible deniability. But, and this is super important to remember, this power is a total double-edged sword. For every single meme used to build a social justice movement, there's another one being used to spread propaganda, misinformation, or just plain hate. Governments and extremist groups have learned to speak this language too, and they use it to confuse and divide. Okay, finally, this new language isn't just changing our politics. It's also completely transforming how we talk about history, art, and even our own mental health. You have definitely seen these. Memes that take some classic, serious-looking piece of art and just slap a modern, super relatable caption on it. This isn't just for a quick laugh. It's creating what scholars call a trans-historical engagement. It's a way for us to connect with people from centuries ago, not through boring facts and dates, but through the shared, timeless weirdness of human emotion. This has led to a really fascinating social media comeback for classic authors. I mean, take this quote from Franz Kafka. His writings, which are just full of anxiety and alienation and guilt, they've become incredibly relatable for Gen Z, who see their own mental health struggles reflected perfectly in his work. Authors like Kafka and Dostoevsky are totally having a moment because their big themes feel so relevant right now. Through memes, their deep dives into alienation, anxiety, and self-doubt have become a shared language for a whole new generation to process their own experiences and build a real sense of community around them. So when you pull it all together, what this really shows is that memes have become so much more than just silly internet jokes. They are truly one of the most productive and adaptable forms of digital communication we have today. A flexible and powerful language that's used for everything from protest and political commentary to building communities and personal self-expression. And all of this brings us to one final, really big question. As this visual language keeps evolving and basically dominating our culture, we have to stop and ask ourselves, underneath all the layers of irony and all the absurdity, what are we as a culture really trying to say?
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, fam.